Okay, today we're going to look at some different forehand drives, and you may have seen this video a little while ago, and I'm basically just hitting the ball either with open racket face for hitting slice like this one, or flat, and then with a bit of topspin. And then I'm going to go through and break these down in slow motion. So you can see basically when I'm hitting with slice, so look here, so racket face is much more open, much more of a compact swing. So this is where you're going for control, and there's a lot of coaches and a lot of players who, rightfully so, will basically hit every single forehand drive with this technique. It's basically going to be the most accurate. You're going to hit the ball straighter. You're also going to just, I think, you can disguise the shot a little bit. So from this position, you're not getting too big where, you can see this bigger backswing. You can see how much higher that racket is. I mean, maybe you could boast this, but you kind of know what's coming. You know that here comes a lot of power. I'm going to hit it hard and low. So it's less likely that you can go disguise that shot. So here is a much more controlled. Obviously, also, if you're stuck in the back corner, you don't have a lot of space. It's going to be more compact, so you can, get that ball out of the back corner. But still, you will see some of the pros. They'll hit some of their drives with that closed racket face, which we'll get to in a second. So I'll let this play through. I think there's two slice shots in a row. So again, same set position, open racket face through the entire swing. So a very compact backswing, good for accuracy, and not maybe necessarily as good for power, which is, doesn't mean you can't hit power with an open racket face, but if you want to, I'm not a big person, so if I wanted to really hit it hard, then I'd have to either flatten the shot out, which is here. So basically what I'm thinking about when I'm doing this, I'm getting a little bit bigger with my backswing, but I'm going through and I'm really thinking about having a shut racket face at contact, which is hard to see at this angle, but I'm hitting it so slice basically will keep the ball straighter, but it takes a little bit of pace off. So hitting it flat is basically just not putting any spin on the ball. So sometimes that can actually help the ball. If it does hit the side wall, if there's a bit of slice, it'll be sticky and kind of come off the wall. But if you hit the ball a little bit flatter with a bit of overspin, then it won't. Okay, and here is another flat one. So I'll let this one play right through so you can take a look. So a little bit bigger backswing than I did have on the slice drive. So just a little bit flatter. So that's what I'm thinking about, flat through contact, not as open in the backswing. And here we are now on the overspin or topspin. And you can see my racket face is actually pointing at the floor right now. So much bigger backswing. I'm also just generally going for power. So you can see kind of getting that weight transfer in my right leg and about to transfer it into that front leg here, because I really want to step in, transfer my weight. But obviously, yes, I'm going to have more power, but with that much of a bigger swing means that more things can go wrong. And you can see I actually still come down and have slightly open racket face, but then I use my forearm and hit slightly close. So it's not going to be as much as tennis players, so I'll let you watch it here straight through, but I'm definitely hitting it with the bottom edge of the racket is behind the top part of the racket, which is kind of hard to see, but basically when I'm coming down here, slight close of the racket face, but obviously not too much, because you still want that ball to make its way to the back, but it's going to be a lot lower on the front wall with more power. So hopefully you can see the differences between, kind of a medium length backswing here, hitting the ball, fairly flat, so it'll have a decent amount of power, slice. So could you see those differences there? A lot of it's about how I set up. So I'm setting up like that. I'm probably hitting the ball flat. I'm setting up like this. You can tell this is much more of a cocked wrist, more of an open racket face. And this is something you can, when you've played a lot of squash, you can see how your opponent's setting up. You can kind of tell, okay, here's this shot, here's that shot, even these subtleties of how they're setting up. So, I think, I don't know, a lot of people stick to one and they do that, but I've just, I don't know, kind of found my own way that I actually enjoy. I play a lot more slice drives now than I used to, but I like having a bit of variety and being able to, do some different things with the ball and with the racket. So we'll look here. I think there's one or two more. Okay, here's another flat one. And sometimes the flat one there, I'm doing it because I actually had to pick it off the side wall. So for me, it's a little bit easier to play that. And you can see actually this one here, you can tell already how I'm bringing the racket back low. This is going to be a top spin, overspin shot, because you can see just the way I'm arcing this back, it's going to be big. So I wouldn't be able to do this same backswing if I didn't have an overhit drive. So if that ball was dying in the back corner, there's no way I would have room for that big of a swing, right? That's a bit of a straighter elbow at the start. I'm bringing the racket back up and up that way. So racket face is already closed. And then, the tough part will be just getting that whip and the accuracy when you have that much going on in the swing. So that's why you won't see coaches generally coach that. I wouldn't either, but it's just something that you will notice if you see some of the top players play and you watch in slow motion. There you can see this is in real time. So even though, maybe we can look here one more time. So I'll let you just watch it straight through and just pay attention and see if you can pick up these differences in how I'm setting up and swinging in real time. Okay, hopefully you could pick those things up. So I thought that was interesting to talk about today, and hopefully I've explained it well enough that it makes a little bit of sense. And if you're looking for just one to pick up, one drive technique, obviously this is the one that I would recommend, I would coach. But if you're a pretty skilled player and you have a variety of these, then I think you can pick and choose when to use some of those other ones, and knowing when they're going to be beneficial and what the benefits and I guess risks are of playing those different types of drive swings.